What is up? Welcome back. Season 7, 2 minutes in the box with Gordo. I am home at last. Home at last. I like to give a quick shout out to my Florida Junior Panthers 16 single A team. What up, boys? And to Coach Rad, what up? Can't wait to be at practice tonight. All right, let's get to business, shall we? Today we're going to be talking about Florida Panthers hockey. Miko Mikula with his 8-year extension and the 11th player on the team that's contract is going to be going through 2030. Wow. And we got Kirill Kaprizov's biggest contract in NHL history for now, and Luke Hughes' 7-year, $9 million on average. And we've got Mason McTavish on a 6-year, $7 million on average. And I got some beef with some washed up number one draft pick who dissed the entire sport on ESPN yesterday. And we got our latest rumors and some legal stuff and the potential of a generational player that we're going to be viewing and watching tomorrow night. And the NHL's value, teams and prices, etc., goes up. All right, let's get to it. The Florida Panthers, Mika Mikula. Mikula! 8-year, $40 million contract extension. Bill Zito gets the deal done. And I'll tell you, having an 8-year extension on a player like Mika Mikla, the Condor, this guy is got the goods. He's got 2 Stanley Cups already. This guy is a cornerstone. Him and Zeth Jones. Then you've got Goose and X. And you got Cooley and Jeff Petrie. This is going to be a force to be reckoned with. I want to address things with the Florida Panthers, though. Barkov is going to be fine. And, he was talking about a potential 5 to 6 month return. I would love to say just be careful. Don't overdo it. Max Pacioretty a few years ago, he tore his Achilles. He came back too soon and retore the same one. And that's why he had to retire recently to go become a special assistant to the University of Michigan hockey program. Yeah, I'll tell you, you know, the Panthers to me, I still think they're the favorites to win. I don't care what the pundits and the idiots in the gambling room say. You drop them from 1 to 5. Let's just put it this way. I believe that this Florida Panthers team is still deep and dangerous. And here's the thing, Sergei Bobrovsky's got 1 year left on his contract, which ends after this season. I would love to see the Panthers get him a hometown discount and to keep that core together for another 4, maybe 5 years. This Florida Panthers team is going to be special. I mean, you got Edmonton having the best odds, tying with Carolina and Colorado. Then you've got Dallas and Vegas. The only team I see a real threat above the Florida Panthers, it's the Dallas Stars. I think Vegas is just average. And then you've got, the Edmonton Oilers, who are the top dogs. They just got McDavid and Draisaitl, and I don't think they're even that better, Like their goaltending is subpar average, and I don't think they have the core to go deep. I still think they're a poor man's Florida Panthers, and this is an all or nothing year. Connor McDavid could be taking his talents elsewhere. So then you've got Carolina Hurricanes. They got Nikolai Ehlers and Keandre Miller, big additions in the offseason. I still think that they have ways to go. Rod Brindamore is the reason why this Carolina Hurricane team is tough as nails, and Rod Brindamore could still run through a wall. I love the way this guy coaches. This guy deserves every praise and credit. Then you've got the Colorado Avalanche. They've got superstar offense and superstar defense. They got average goaltending. So, yeah, I'll explain everything in my odds and all that stuff later. But let's get to one of the next subjects. It is Kirill Kaprizov. For now, he is the highest paid player in NHL history. He just got an 8-year deal, 17 million on average. Boy, 20 years ago, that salary cap was at 39 million. He would have basically taken half, and he would have been a very selfish situation back then. Now, if you do the math, that's 136 million. That's more than Ovechkin what he got on his 13-year deal. You know, it's smart that he stayed because any idiot would pay a player like Kirill Kaprizov. This guy's stats 64 games on average with 77 points. Very impressive, but the thing is, if he goes to another team and he gets hurt, he's going to be carrying a lot of money and skipping town after that. But staying in Minnesota, smart move because if he would have left, Bill Guerin and his entire team would have been gutted, fired. It's no joke. Marion Gabrick, back in the day, when Marion Gabrick got himself a 5 year, $40 million contract, the Wild lost a lot of credibility. They lost their first ever draft pick and superstar. And I'll tell you, he was a stud. And, when he was with the Rangers and then went to the Blue Jackets and the Kings and the Senators, this guy was a stud. Yeah, I like the way he played. So, Kirill Kaprizov, good for you for being loyal to your fan base and to the great North and the hockey state and the many lakes of Minnesota. Oh yeah, I'm very happy about that. And Luke Hughes, he gets paid $9 million a year for a 7 year extension. Gets more money than his older brother Quinn and Jack. That is a bargain. I'll tell you, that was a smart investment. Paying the youngest sibling more money. Yeah, that's going to drive up the market value. I really think that was a very good deal by New Jersey to keep the youngest Hugh brother there. And Dougie Hamilton, he's going to be dealt, probably, midway through. Let's see how the season goes. And they got to make room for Markstrom for his new contract as well. So then you got the Anaheim Ducks. You got Mason McTavish. Finally gets his deal done. 7 million a year, 6 year extension. Smart move. The kid's a dynamo. The Ducks are up on the rise. You've got Leo Carlson. You've got Racco Goodes. You've got Chris Kreider. You've got Jacob Trouba. You've got a team that is ready. I know you traded John Gibson away, but damn, this Ducks team is going to be very interesting to watch with the return of Joel Quenneville coaching the Ducks. And I see Anaheim could be a dangerous team, could be a potential wild card team this year. But we'll have to wait and see. We're 5 days away from the opening night of the NHL. And remember, triple header on Tuesday on ESPN. And this is going to be fun because we've got 3 games on the slate coming up this Tuesday. This is going to be one of those days we're going to be like, wow, this is exciting hockey. You've got the Chicago Blackhawks against the Florida Panthers. You got old dynasty from the 2010s against the current dynasty of the Florida Panthers, the banner raiser, the festivities. It's going to be exciting. And then you've got the Pittsburgh Penguins against New York Rangers. Penguins going up against their old coach, Mike Sullivan, who's making his debut as the New York Rangers' new coach. That's going to be exciting right there at 8 p.m. And then you got the Colorado Avalanche against the LA Kings at 10:30. This is going to be one hell of a night on ESPN. And this is going to be fun. And speaking of ESPN, we have some wash-up #1 draft pick blurting out saying that he hates hockey and doesn't give a damn about the sport on live television. And I'll say this, boy, oh boy, Ben McDonald, for a guy who was remembered to be a #1 draft pick, dude, you're not even memorable, dude. You only won 78 games in your career and you fucked up your shoulder like 4 or 5 times. Dude, you're a disgrace, man. Alexander Daigle once said this. I'm glad I was #1 because nobody remembers #2. Exactly. Nobody remembers you. You're just a loudmouth in the broadcast booth, and everyone wants your ass gone. Oh, go sip some juice and fly kites while you're at it. You're just an embarrassment, bro. It just comes to show that never ever trash another sport on the network that's promoting it. ESPN's the worldwide leader in sports. Baseball is on its deathbed, and I'm about to pull the plug. That sport is dying. Hockey, I was going to get to this a little later, but right now, the NHL values for all 32 teams have skyrocketed the last 3 years. The average net worth is like 2.3 or maybe $2.9 billion. And I'll tell you, Ben McDonald, you're just bitter because your career did not last that long. I mean, come on, bro. For you to say that on live television, just to say, Oh, yeah, nobody cares about hockey. Dude, the NHL is a growing sport. Nobody wants to sit on their ass and watch baseball anymore. Baseball is dead to me. And he said this quote, there's a zero chance I'll be watching. I'm just gonna be honest with you. Oh yeah, you know, with technology and social media these days, no one's gonna watch you because your career was unwatchable and unmemorable. Seriously, bro, you're going to be fired, and the only thing you're going to be talking to is the mirror because nobody wants to hear you. The only one who wants to hear it's yourself because you're a disgrace to the sport of baseball and to hockey fans and sports fans all around. Yeah, so he was number one pick for the Orioles, played his college ball at LSU, and basically he is not a hockey fan. And listen, you're supposed to be promoting, the sport. You work for a network, sign a multi-billion-dollar deal. You're supposed to be saying, yeah, this is going to be fun. It's opening night. Can't wait to see the Florida Panthers raise the banner against a team with an upcoming superstar in Connor Bedard. And you're saying, oh man, I'm not going to watch it, and it was the most disrespectful and most offensive thing I've ever heard. For I know it's baseball playoffs, but yawn, baseball's dead. Rob Manfred murdered it. It's basically an embarrassment. This guy is basically about to be jobless in the broadcast world. I mean, seriously. John Butchergrass even said it. Zero is also how many postseason innings Ben McDonald pitched in his Major League Baseball career. Burn. I fucking love it, Butchie. You're a beauty. You're one of the real OGs. I'll say this, nobody wants an idiot pitcher from LSU and had nothing burger career saying, "Oh, I'm not interested." Dude, you're supposed to do your job by promoting the NHL. And plus, Major League Baseball is not even on ESPN anymore. You're on your last life support, bro. Major League Baseball is on its last leg on ESPN. Once this is over, ESPN's going to kick you to the curb and going to promote WNBA more and also the NHL more. So, Major League Baseball, it was nice knowing you on ESPN. And Ben McDonald, hit the road, Jack. Don't you come back no more. Oh yeah, nobody wants you anymore. All right, now let's get to the NHL rumors. All right. So, we mentioned about Sergei Bobrovsky getting a new contract. It's got to be a team friendly deal. That's a definite answer. Yep, you got to get a team deal. Carter Hart, Vegas Golden Knights, and Michael McLeod, I should say. Both of those guys, McLeod and Hart, who are part of that controversial court ruling. I knew those five guys were innocent. It was all an extortion plot. She lied the whole time. She had a boyfriend. The boyfriend and her plotted it. So basically, they would con Hockey Canada and the media, etc. She was a liar. She should be in jail. So Carter Hart deserves another chance. And, for him, a fresh start in Vegas. But is that a good idea, though? Is that a good idea for Carter Hart to go to the Vegas Golden Knights? And then Michael McLeod, though. I've heard Michael McLeod's name been mentioned about the Carolina Hurricanes. This guy, I would say this, it's very sensitive. Some of the fans in Carolina are contemplating and planning on getting rid of their season tickets because of the controversial ruling in the court. And I gotta say, if I were Vegas, I'll take a flyer because, their goaltending is average. You need stability to make it to the Stanley Cup Finals and win the Stanley Cup. Vegas has got a good team. I know that they're going to be struggling a little bit on the back end because Alex Pietrangelo is going to be out for the entire season or maybe further in the future. But there's been talks that he's going to be making a comeback. But let's see how his rehab and his workouts go further along the way. And you've got a very stacked Vegas team, but can they make it? I've read Hockey News, Sports Illustrated, and others. Some say it's going to be Vegas and Carolina in the Cup Finals. I believe Florida is going to be in the finals against Winnipeg. There's a lot of theories, but we're going to get to the prediction stuff tomorrow. But this is all news and catching up onto the world of the NHL. And I want to go back to the Panthers stuff, saying this, Barkov getting hurt, it's was one of the horrific things I've seen. And the thing is, you ready for this? If Ekblad would have left, if Marchand would have left, if Bennett would have left, that would have been worse. Their odds would have dropped like a rock. I mean, seriously, tie the dude like with concrete shoes, Goodfellas and Godfather crap. We're talking like the Panthers would have gone from 1 to like 20. The 20th best odds if they would have lost that core three and Barkov in that realm. But you've got a very strong, deep team. And Brad Marchand says never underestimate us. And basically, we're a team that can be overcome and they're resilient. They're tough. And I tell you, this Panthers team, they're going to prove those doubters wrong. They are definitely going to prove those doubters wrong. All right. And also on the other rumor mill, who's going to replace Evgeny Malkin? I got to tell you, if I were Pittsburgh, I mean, Malkin's tempting. Charlie Coyle's tempting. Jack Roslovic, who's still a UFA, that's tempting. Alex Winberg, he's tempting. I mean, can Sidney Crosby pull a Tom Brady? Can he pull a Tom Brady? And win one more cup for his legacy. I mean, that's tempting. It's a very tempting deal. And I would tell you, it's a very tempting deal. It's a very tempting deal. And I want to go with this. So, I've been having this reoccurring dream the last few weeks. You remember how LeBron James took his talents to South Beach and he made his return with the Miami Heat against the Cleveland Cavaliers? And they did that montage of, the Eiffel Tower going to Rio de Janeiro. And then you've got the Great Wall of China going to New York and the statue of Abraham Lincoln going to Greece. I just got that feeling we're going to see a sequel of Connor McDavid, and they'll be hearing the song "Come Home" by One Republic. That's what's going to happen. If it happens, I believe that Connor McDavid will possibly either follow Gretzky's legacy or he's going to go with the LeBron James legacy. I mean, it's all or nothing right now for Connor McDavid. Yeah, I mean, there's been links with Vegas, LA, Detroit, Chicago, New York, even Boston, and maybe Tampa Bay or Florida. Like even Utah is really tempted. I mean, every team is going to go throw money ball at this guy. But be careful what you make your wish and what you spend it on because it's consequence. Because it's the old saying goes, the more money you get, the more fragile you become and more vulnerable you become. Yeah. So that's just my take right there. Then I would like to congratulate the Calgary Flames coach Ryan Huska, 2-year extension. He's done a terrific job with the Calgary Flames so far. And I'll tell you, Calgary's a good team. Dustin Wolf, you've got some good pieces all around, but I'm a little worried about Huberdeau's health. He got hurt last night. And Nazem Kadri as well. He's also on the trade block as well. Yeah. And now we got a situation like here we go again with Utah. The Utah Mammoth. All right, let me take a quick sip of this. All right. Utah Mammoth is facing another trademark challenge to its name. Mammoth Hockey LLC, the hockey equipment bag manufacturer based out of Portland, Oregon, has filed a motion for a preliminary injunction in U.S. District Court in Utah to protect its long established brand against used by the newest NHL team, the Utah Mammoth, that was announced back in May 7th, 2025. So the motion was sent in September 25th, and the counterclaim against Utah Mammoth owners Ryan and Ashley Smith's Smith Sports Entertainment Group So basically, they filed a motion on August 1st to end any trademark dispute with Mammoth Hockey LLC, which they said they made threats, litigation since the NHL team name has been announced since last May. You know, this was like it was very controversial. I mean, they were gonna go with the Yeti. Yeti said no. The company would have been confused and all that, And then you've got, the hockey club. Like to me, I wish they would have kept hockey club just because I think they would have, kept the circle with the HC. But I think the Mammoth is a good name too. But I would have loved to see a Yeti's face inside of the HC. Make it like hidden or outlaws. I mean, you know, don't forget, you had a team in the National Lacrosse League in the box league, the Colorado Mammoth. They're like, okay, what the hell? And then Colorado's also got an outdoor team called the Denver Outlaws. I mean, what a complicating mess this is. This is a very sensitive situation. I think this case is just another way of like, they just want money and all, but I don't know. I'm no court expert, but let's just say this. Mammoth hockey's been around for about 15 years now, and that they knew this long standing of the use mark, but never sought an agreement. It's all about money, guys. It's all about money. Mammoth Hockey LLC has been around for 15 years, and Utah Mammoth, it just came back in May, last May. There's no way that, everyone is getting all fussy about it, but just let's just be bygones. Just settle it out of court. Just basically pay the Mammoth Hockey LLC company a couple million and just make them go away. I like the Utah Mammoth logo. It's got the U with the tusks. It's got the state of Utah and the mountains. It's a perfect logo. It's a perfect name. I believe it should be like I said, let be bygones be bygones. All right. Yeah. So let's talk about the NCAA hockey. NCAA hockey coming this Friday, and there's a big debut and marketed game. A lot of hype is into this. You got Penn State and the number one draft pick in the generational talent game, Gavin McKenna, the cousin of Connor Bedard, against Arizona State University. And this game is going to be telecasted like in Penn State and that market region. Same thing with parts of the whole state of Arizona. And don't forget, this game's going to be on NHL YouTube, NHL Network. It's going to be broadcast all over because this is the most highly anticipated NCAA hockey game. This is more like, I mean, I know the Frozen Four and the national championship is a big deal, but this is the biggest debut for a freshman. I've never seen anything like it. I've never seen a high expected debut for a generational player in Gavin McKenna. I mean, we're talking big. I mean, they're going from the Happy Valley of Penn State, and you're going to the Valley. I mean, this right here is going to be one of the most highly anticipated NCAA games of all time for a season opener, guys. A season opener, and this kid is going to be a superstar. The kid's 17 years old, and it's a good thing he's going to be playing in college a year because for this year possibly because listen, this kid is going to be a superstar no matter what. Last year when he was playing for the Madison Hat Tigers, he had 41 goals, 88 assists, 129 points. And in the playoffs, 16 games played with 9 goals, 29 assists, 38 points. I'm excited to see this kid play. This is one of the most highly exciting NCAA players since Johnny Goodrow, Jack Eichel, and Paul Kariya. This guy could basically be Paul Kariya. Paul Kariya won the Hobie Baker Award as a freshman. This guy could be a Paul Correa type player. And look at Paul Correa's numbers. Paul Correa, when he was at the University of Maine on that dynasty team in the 1992-93 season, this guy had 25 goals, 75 assists, 100 points in 39 games. This guy is a superstar. Like, I would say this, Gavin McKenna is going to be having crazy stats. If you do the math, 100 points in a game, like in this entire season, we're talking about 100 points divided by 39. He had 2.6 points a game. That's almost 3 points a game. Gavin McKenna and Penn State, and Penn State's got one is number one in the country. They've got a highly recruiting class, and this team is expected to win the Big Ten and also the national championship. You know, and Arizona State is going to be a sneaky good team too. They're 14th. Penn State is in the top five. And I believe this game is going to break records for ratings. And I wouldn't be surprised Gavin McKenna gets probably 2 goals in his debut and a couple and 2 assists. And then the next game, it's gonna be like walking through the park. He's gonna get a goal and 4 assists. He's gonna basically get 9 or 10 points in those 2 games. And plus, it's gonna help everyone around him. And if he was playing in Madison Hat right now, Jesus Christ, I'm gonna say this. He would be running everything over. He would be getting like 4 points a game right now in the early seasons of the Western Hockey League. Gavin McKenna is going to be highly advertised and he's going to live up to the expectations. This guy is going to be a superstar. That's no joke and no pun intended. I mean, we're going to see a very exciting game tomorrow night. And make sure you watch it on NHL Network. This is going to be an exciting game. And now let's talk about the last thing we're talking about is NHL team values. 2.1 billion. I mean, I were exaggerating like 2.9 billion, but holy shnikes. We're talking about in the last 3 years, NHL team values are popping, exploding up to upwards 210% increase. I mean, that's just unreal. Vinny Viola, who bought the Florida Panthers, right, back in 2013 for 250 million, the value of that team just skyrocketed, 600, 700%. Now, the Florida Panthers, they went from being the cheapest value team in the NHL to being like in the middle of the pack. 1.9 billion and the team's value increased 51%. That is insane. I mean, Carolina Hurricanes, Utah Mammoth, they've increased value in the last 3 years at 21% or more. That's just phenomenal. Toronto is no surprise. You got 4.25 billion, 16% increase just in 1 year. The Rangers, the most expensive team in the United States at 3.65 billion, which is a 12% increase. And Columbus Blue Jackets is the least valuable team, still at $1 billion, coming in at 1.3 billion with a 23% increase in 1 year. Yeah, I'll say this. Wow. Hockey is booming. Hockey is back. And I'll say this. Remember that Sports Illustrated cover back in the day? They said they had, the NHL Cup Finals on top and the NBA Finals on the bottom. And they had, why is the NHL hot and the NBA not? Exactly, because the game of hockey is exciting. It's booming and moving and grooving. Yeah, we're seeing an exponential rate. And the average NHL team is at $2.1 billion. And I'll say this, here's the thing. Here's the thing, though. It still makes the average NHL franchise lower than the MLB, NBA, and NFL, of course. But there's the thing. 17% since last season and a staggering 100% since 2022. It's a good thing that hockey is basically, in a very stable place. Yes, I'm saying this. You had a nice, successful season with the Four Nations in February and the return of the Olympics. And then you got the salary cap going up, and the NHL and the PA basically got their new 4-year deal. This is very good for the sport of hockey. I am very satisfied what I'm seeing right now. Now you've got 12 teams at $2 billion. 12 teams in the NHL. That's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. You've got the, New York Rangers at second place. You got Toronto at first, Rangers second. You got Montreal at third. Then you got Boston at four. Then you got LA at five. Then you've got Washington at ninth. And then you've got the Detroit Red Wings at 2.11 billion. Then you get the Devils at 2.06 billion and Vegas Golden Knights at 2.02 billion. I mean, holy crap. And then let's say this in the last few years, the Carolina Hurricanes, Tom Dundon's team shot up 10 spots since last year at a 49% growth. It's unbelievable. He bought the team for 545 million, sitting at 28th place at the time, but he's on the verge of becoming a multi-billionaire at this point. I mean, we're talking like with all the values and all that stuff. It's unbelievable. I mean, holy crap. I mean, just unbelievable. We have 12 teams that reached the $1 billion mark. All right. So here's the top 15, shall we? Toronto Maple Leafs at 1, New York Rangers 2, Montreal Canadiens at 3, Boston Bruins at 4. That's 4 original 6 teams. The non-traditional market, LA Kings at number 5, Edmonton Oilers at 6, Chicago Blackhawks at 7, Philadelphia Flyers at 8, the Washington Capitals at 9, Detroit Red Wings at 10, 11, New Jersey Devils, 12, the Vegas Golden Knights, 13, the Dallas Stars, 14, the New York Islanders, 15, the Carolina Hurricanes. Just unbelievable. We're talking about the enterprise, the total value of the enterprise value of the team plus related business and real estate deals, team value, fair market value of the franchise itself, derived from hockey-specific revenue matrix, team-related business and real estate, additional assets such as practice facilities, AHL affiliate, and arena-related properties. Are you kidding? The NHL is just dynamo, baby. We're in the effing growth. $2.1 billion. The NHL is basically like, whoa. This is just great news for the sport of hockey. We're in the green and not in the red. And, if Arizona would still be there, still doing the problems, the NHL will be back there, but that's going to be another podcast episode. So, yeah, just like how the NHL and the Tampa Bay Lightning, the Florida Panthers, they're set even. They are set even. I'm telling you, the NHL right now, it's getting there. It's like, wow. Wow, wow, wow. Ma. Just unbelievable. All right. That's it for the episode. 2 minutes in the box with Gordo. Thank you for watching. Follow, like, and subscribe on YouTube, Rumble, TikTok, X, Facebook, Instagram, etc. Be on the lookout because the show is going to be going into an interesting redevelopment and renovation. And hopefully you guys will still follow the show and enjoy season 7. We'll be back on the air tomorrow. Be happy, be healthy, God bless, and nice matters. Have a great day, everybody.